Cindy Diebel. I live here in Boise, Idaho, and I am one of your Blue Diamonds here at Trinot. And today we are going to talk about leadership. We're going to talk about how to take your business to the next level. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to ask you all a question though, and just drop a one in the chat if this is something maybe that you struggle with or you want to learn more about. How many of you would love to be better closers? Like you would love to be able to get people in your team into action. And sometimes maybe you might feel frustrated that somebody is not moving as fast as you want. Is there anybody that has ever felt frustrated or felt like um, you can't get people to move into action? If so, just drop a one in the chat. I see some ones. Okay. Well, today we're going to talk about, I believe these two laws that we're going to talk about today are probably the most important laws to understand if you truly want to get somebody to move into action in your team. And, I want to start out just by telling you my story because you guys, when I first got in this industry, you've heard this probably many times, but I struggled. I struggled in a major way for my first few months doing this, where I felt like I was jumping on all the trainings, I was doing all the things, but my team was not moving. Okay. It was not going anywhere. After 4 months of working really, really hard, we had about 12 people on our team, but all of them were dead. How many of you have ever felt like you're dragging people along, you're talking them into or trying to get them, begging them to do certain things and you just can't get them to move into action? Well, that was me completely, okay? I had 12 people. These 12 people were great people too. I just knew that if I could get them to move, like we were going to have some massive results, some massive momentum, but I couldn't get them to move. And the biggest reason why, and we'll talk about it, is because people do what you do, not what you say. Okay. People buy you. When they first join, they're buying you, your vision, what you're creating. They're not buying a product or buying the company, they're buying you. And the problem was for me when I first got in this industry, you guys, I was not leading. I was not being the leader that you would want to follow, right? I would show up sometimes, I would do things sometimes. I was building it all on convenience. Also, I wasn't connecting with my team. I wasn't focused on what they wanted. I was focused on what I wanted. And because of that, we really struggled our first 4 months. And so, connection, the law of connection is so important because, first of all, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And people will join you when they trust you and feel connected to you, okay? And they'll move mountains with you when they feel like you are with them, like that you emotionally have connected with them. It's not about just connecting and giving facts. It's about connecting emotionally and finding out exactly what they want and listening long enough to really care and be in the trenches with them, basically. And so I'm so excited to talk to you about these two laws because when I figured out that it was not about just what I wanted, but it was about what they wanted. And I truly cared about, connecting with them and finding out their hopes and their dreams and everything. We were starting to build something big. The other thing is the law of the buy-in, right? When I started stepping up and doing the things that I needed to do, things changed. So let's talk a little bit about, okay, the greater connection that you have, the greater influence you can exert into your team. If you want influence, okay, then you've got to connect more than you ever have before. Because again, like I said, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so leaders have to initiate that connection. It's more important for you if you feel like, man, my team's not connecting with me. It's because you are not reaching out possibly to them and connecting to them. Okay. So it's our responsibility as a leader, if we truly want to build those relationships, if we truly want to move them into action, then we've got to reach into our team and truly connect with them. This is so important. And I'm going to say this because it was probably easier for me 18 years ago to make those phone calls because we didn't have text messaging. We didn't have Messenger. We didn't have, social media and all those different tools. Not even email, probably. Well, we probably did have email, but I wasn't using it. Okay. So, bottom line, I see leaders today where some don't even know some of their team's phone numbers, right? Because they're just doing it through Messenger and maybe they've never truly connected to them. So I'm going to give you some tools on how to connect with those people. But your job is to build a relationship of trust with them and connect, not just intellectually where you're giving them the facts and details of compensation plan, but emotionally, okay? And shift from how can they help me to how can I help them? This is really important. And I'm going to tell you a story about this for me because, like I said, my first 4 months in this industry, I struggled. Like I had a team that wasn't moving. I wasn't moving. Things weren't happening. And I remember thinking, well, maybe I am just not a good network marketer. I mean, maybe I just really suck, right? Because I could not get anybody to move. And something hit me one day that, man, if I help this person do this, and 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 I help them get what they want, then I'm going to be able to have what I want. I mean, we've all heard the saying a million times, Zig Ziglar, right? If I help enough other people get what they want, I can always have what I want. Take on that attitude or that mantra because I will tell you, when I took that on and I started really thinking about my team, back then, the position that I was running for was a position that was kind of like diamond, but it was 4 lines wide. Okay. It was more maybe like black diamond, but it was 4 lines wide. And I remember thinking, okay, if I help Francini, my sister-in-law, I help my friend Cindy, if I help Jennifer and Darren, if I help, I got to remember all I had at that time, Deb and Ben Cano, if I help those 4 people get to Sapphire, then I can get to, Black Diamond or whatever it was at that, if equivalent to this. Well, here's a better example here. Okay. If I help 7 people get to Jade, then I can be at the Ruby position. And then if I help 10 people get to Ruby, I can be a diamond. When you have that attitude, instead of I'm going diamond, I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to do all these things, but instead, okay, here's what I've got to do. I'm going to help this person get to Jade. I'm going to run like crazy. I'm going to move, and talk to them about what do they want? How can I get them excited about creating that? And really focus in on exactly what they want and show them how they can get that. And I get this person to Jade and this person and this person and this person, 7 people to Jade, then I'm going to be Ruby. And then now I'm going to identify 10 people that I can get to Ruby so that I can go diamond. When you have that attitude and you truly care about them and not focused on your position, but focused truly on them and what you can create, shifting from how can they help me to how can I help them win and get what they want, you will always have what you want. Okay, so one of the things today, as we're talking about connection, I want you to draw your team out today, if you can, and identify who can you help get to the next level. What can you do for them? What do they truly want? And what are some ways to connect with those people? Well, we actually have I have 11 different things that you can do to get people to connect with you and buy into what you're creating and get them excited about moving into action, okay? So, in fact, I'm just going to go right to them because, we went to connection, but now let's talk about the buy-in. There's three C's to buying in because again, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And people buy you, not a product. Ed Milet said this very best. He said, you don't have to get people to believe in your products. You have to get people to believe that you believe in the products, that you believe in what you're creating. People are buying your confidence, your conviction, your excitement, right? And there's three things that they're looking at when they're buying into you. First of all, your character. People follow people that they respect. This is really important. Are you your word, right? Are you showing up as the leader that you would want to follow? Are you, would you follow you basically? People follow people that are competent and have strength and vision and know where they're going. So, do you know where you're going? Are you showing up like a force to be reckoned with? This is so important. And then connection. People, okay, need to feel connected. And that's why I paired connection with buy-in, because when you truly have connection with somebody and you get their buy-in, you can move mountains. You can make major things happen in your organization. So how do we do this? Okay, well, I have 11 things to make that happen. First, are you doing welcome calls? Reaching out to people, and they don't just have to be when they first join. That's the only time you connect with them, right? Today, draw your team out and look and see who can I connect with today? Who can I get to the next level? What can I do for them? If you don't have their phone number, reach out to them in Messenger and say, listen, I've been thinking about you. What's your phone number? Let's get on a Zoom. Let's get on a call. I want to talk to you because there's no reason why you can't create this. There's no reason why you can't be able to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. So if you haven't truly connected with them yet, connect with them. Okay. As if it's a brand new day and you're just getting started and you get on this welcome call. Now, that welcome call should entail you learning about them. Like, why are you here? What do you want to go create? What totally fires you up? And just remember, everybody's dreams and goals are different. You're going to have some people jump on and they're going to say, you know what, if I can just make an extra $500 a month, I'm going to love this. And then there's going to be some people that are going to jump on and they're going to say, look, I have to get to $17,000 a month ASAP. So, how are you going to respond? You're going to respond in the same way to the person that says they want to make $500 a month as to the person that wants to make $17,000 a month. Oh my gosh, there's no reason why you can't do that. Let me show you how we're going to make that happen, right? Now, why is $17,000 a month so significant to you? Why is $500 a month so significant to you? Like, how much money do you need to make this worth your time? Find out what they're doing. Like, if they're super busy, right? You're going to say, man, I know you're busy. So obviously there's a certain amount of money you need to make this worth your time. Tell me what that is. Like, connect with them, learn about them, find out even, how many kids they have and their ages. All of these things are so important for you. And then make sure you take notes. Make sure that you take notes so you remember who they are, what they're creating, what they want in their life. Okay, so that you can remind them of their goals. You can remind them of the things that we are running for and the vision of what they can create. Again, people don't care if you say you can do it. unless you are focused on why they're doing it, what they're creating. Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense because I did not move into action. And I want you to think about you. You're not moving into action because of my dreams, right? I didn't move into action because of my upline's dreams. They had big dreams. I know they did. They showed up at my house, they did trainings, they did things. But I only moved into action because of what I was creating for my family. Okay, so just remember that. This is so important. People move into action for themselves. Okay, and there is a certain reason why they're there. So find out why they're with you. What are we creating? What are we doing here? Okay, so reach out to these people, to your team, and connect with them. Know their names. Like, be excited to give them a hug at national. Like this kind of connection is why people stay in the game. This is so important. And the reason why they follow you and buy into you is because you're showing up that way. You're leading, right? Okay, so lead with your story or somebody else's story as well. Okay. So if you get on a call and Janet says, listen, I love this, but I'm super busy. I'm working full time as a hairstylist or whatever it is, right? Then I'm going to talk to her and say, oh my God, I'm going to relate to her. I'm going to say, oh my gosh, I totally get it, Janet. I'm super busy too. Like, when I first got in this, and if you have a story that can relate to them, share your story and be vulnerable and authentic with them. If you don't have a personal story about that, then talk about somebody else's stories. Remember that stories are what create emotion and sell. Facts are just going to tell, right? If I just tell Janet, look, okay, that's okay. Busy people get things done. Let me show you how we're going to do it. And I just draw out a game plan, but I don't actually get personal with her and relate to her about, listen, you know what? There's this gal, Kylie Riegler. She was a hairstylist. Like she was working full time. And she was just sick and tired of being sick and tired. She wanted change to happen in her life. She's now a top producing red diamond in the company. If she can do it, you can do it, right? Telling a story, telling and getting somebody to relate to that story, maybe telling a little bit more, but listen, I know how busy you are. Busy people are the ones that are making it happen. That's exactly why you need to do this. This is an incredible way for you to leverage yourself and get your time back. Okay, so learning their story, telling your story or somebody else's story to bridge the gap to get them into action. A story is what got me into action. You know what got me into action was hearing that a person in my upline was able to purchase his parents $1 million home because of this industry, and it changed their life. And I thought about my dad for 27 years had sacrificed for our family. I'm the oldest of 7 children, and he would leave early in the morning. He was a Wonder Bread sales guy. He would leave early in the morning and he wouldn't come home till late at night. And I always wanted to be able to give back to him. I always wanted to give to my parents what they never had, and provide that life. And consequently, by the way, later on, I was able to do that. But that story moved me. It made me cry. I was like, oh my gosh, I have an opportunity to build a multi-million dollar business. If he can do that, I can do that too. Right. And so get them saying, if that person can do it, I can do that too. If you can do this, I can do that too. Be relatable. Okay. Share your journey, right? So lead with your story, share your journey. Like, for example, what's the number one thing that people struggle with when they get in this industry? Other people's opinions. I'm going to tell you that their brokest uncle or aunt or somebody is going to say network marketing doesn't work. That was my whole family when I first joined. How many of you have had somebody in your life say to you that's not going to work, or made you feel like you couldn't do this because there were other people telling you, I've done that before, it didn't work, right? You got to remember the struggles that everybody goes through. even when they're on their way to sapphire, when they're on their way to diamond, when they're on their way to black diamond, like this is something, right? In order to take your life to another level, then change has to happen. Things are going to happen. There's opposition that's going to happen. You're going to go against the grain. To get into the 3%, you have to be willing to do what 97% of the people are not willing to do. So 97% of the people around you are going to think you're crazy, right? And you're on the right track doing that. But a brand new person doesn't maybe understand that in the beginning. So talk to them and be transparent about your journey. I always tell everybody, look, my whole family thought I was crazy when I first joined. My dad told me nobody makes any money except for the people at the top in network marketing. My sister said she knew people that didn't, they didn't make any money. My brother laughed at me. My brother-in-law told me, even when you're making 30 grand a month, I'll never do this. So I ran into that in the beginning, but I decided nobody else is paying my bills but me. And if I buy into their opinion, I'm buying into their lifestyle. They were all broke. I was as well. I didn't want that lifestyle, right? So I decided to follow people who had the lifestyle that I wanted. And because of that, I followed somebody who at 23 years old was making over $100,000 a month. And I thought, well, dang, if this young punk kid can do it, I can do it too. I want that lifestyle. And because of that, later on in life, all of those people that thought I was crazy, they all love this industry today. And because I've blessed them in a major way, or they've been blessed by it. But my dad, at the time when he told me I was crazy to do this, he was set for life at that time. Okay. He had finally worked and retired and had 3 homes and had investments and everything. But then when the economy crashed, he lost everything. And I was able to give back to my dad because I just went and built even when he thought I was crazy. I just went and built even when, things were tough. And so share stories like that. I'm sure there's times when you felt, frustrated or afraid or whatever, but you pushed through and you had a win in the end. Share those stories or share my stories. Share stories that are relatable for people because people, your team, everybody, okay, you don't get to another level without struggles. It's just part of success and sharing that. The pathway to success leads right through the dump, right? There's going to be some challenges along the way. But what's helped me is taking on the mantra, I persist until the miracle. Failure can't cope with persistence. Like share some of your mantras, some of the things that of how you were able to get through these challenges. That's how you truly connect with people. And that's how people buy into what you're creating. Okay. Build through or build trust through consistency. This is really important. You've got to be consistent, right? So I struggled big time in the very beginning when I first got in this industry because I wasn't consistent. I would get super excited. I would jump on trainings or I would go to events and I get all fired up and then I'd come home and Jeremy wasn't at the event and he was like, not excited about it. And then he would go to the event, he would get excited, and I would decide I'm not going to the event. And because of me not being consistent and him not being consistent and on the same page, you guys, we were like, you wouldn't have ever wanted us in your business. Okay. We were not the people that people would want to follow because we weren't consistent. We weren't like on a mission, making changes, showing up regularly. Sometimes we'd show up, sometimes we wouldn't. We weren't reliable, really. I mean, people want somebody that has strength, that has conviction, that is on a mission, making changes, doing things. And whether you know it or not, people know when you're really showing up and being consistent and when you're not. Okay. I know for me, my team knew that I wasn't totally all in, plugged in, because I wasn't being that leader to really, show up and be, I just wasn't being that person. They knew. So you got to be consistent and have your three non-negotiables. Okay, what are the things that that are so important for you to show up every single day? Like maybe you won't be able to do all 10 things that you decide you're going to do. But what are the top three things that no matter what, even if it's a bad day, you're going to do? You're not going to let your head hit the pillow until you get it done. When I started doing that, we exploded. Okay, so one of the things that I said when I got serious and I made a commitment, you guys, from this one commitment, we went from struggling for 4 months, 12 people on our team, to within 60 days, we had over 300 people on our team. And the three non negotiables for me to bring in all those people. And then the next month we had over 1,000 and we rose to the top and built a multi-million dollar business. But what changed was making a commitment to be consistent. And every day there were three things that I wouldn't let my head hit the pillow till I got it done. One of them was reach outs, like connecting and reaching out to 10 people a day. Okay. Like inviting them. Hey, listen, I'm working on a business project. I'm looking for key people like yourself. Do you keep your business options open? Let's talk. Okay. 10 of those a day. The other thing was presenting 3 presentations a day. Like, I didn't let my head hit the pillow till I did a presentation either for myself or for somebody in our organization. And then the third thing was connecting and promoting, the vision and what we are creating and the events that we had going on to our team, making sure that I was making those connections and talking to them about their dreams and getting them on the events and getting them to the things. Those were the three non-negotiables. If I didn't do that, I mean, my head would not hit the pillow till I got that done. And you guys, it was magic. We went, and it wasn't magic, it was action. Somebody asked me many years ago, I'll never forget this, but it was actually our banker. But he said, man, I've been like, because I would do deposits and stuff like that. And he said, you guys have exploded. Like, you got really lucky with this business, huh? And I said, well, the harder I work, the luckier I get. Okay. Um, it's not about luck. It's about being consistent and showing up and working hard, right? Okay. So, number 4 in getting them to buy into you and connecting, right, is competence. It's saying, listen, even when you're afraid, even when it's inconvenient, even when you've never done it before, listen, Julie, you get the people in front of me, I'm going to sign them up. Listen, Julie, I'm going to do that presentation tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. And if you've never done a presentation, you're saying those words anyway, and then you're doing the deal. Like you're just making it happen. You are the competent one that is going to lead everybody to whatever they want to create. This is how you build a multi-million dollar business. I'm going to tell you, Jennifer Dowd, she was my best friend from high school. I was 13 years old when I first met her. So she knows everything about me. Okay. She knew the crazy things we did in high school and middle school and high school. And at the time that I reached out to her, she wasn't thinking of me as this strong, business person that was going to lead us to make millions of dollars in this industry. She thought of me as Mindy Diebel, or Mindy Wells, actually, before I got married, as the crazy one that would giggle and laugh. And, she didn't think of me as a business person at all. But when I got her in this industry, I knew that I had to show her that I was competent and that we were going to do big things. And I had to paint vision with her on what we were creating. And I showed up in a power suit when I flew into California and got her started. And I said bold things to her. I said, Jen, listen, you get the people in front of me, I'm going to sign them up. I actually said that to her before I flew in. But I said, look, you get the sharpest people you possibly know in front of me, and I will sign them up, period. We are building a multi-million dollar business. We're going to make $100,000 a month. We're going to create jet money. Like those were the words I was saying to her. You guys, you have to know back then I was driving a Honda. I was like a preschool, I came from being a preschool teacher. Wasn't, I mean, I was scared to death to go present. Like I didn't feel confident. I'm naturally an introvert, but I knew I had to say bold things to her and I had to be the top producing Blue Diamond before I ever was going to create that income. And so I said those bold things. I flew into California. I remember driving up to this big, beautiful home that that was our first, well, we had a couple of appointments and then this one big appointment where we drive up to a surgeon's house, this big, beautiful home, marble floors. And I wanted to throw up. I was like, oh my gosh, she really did put me in front of some sharp people. How am I going to sign this person up? I was scared to death. But I did not let her know that. Okay. I didn't let her know that. We walked in there, we presented, and I was so shocked. I mean, this is where I was at that time. I remember presenting to this guy, the surgeon, and I think it was a heart surgeon. I can't remember, but this house was ginormous. And I just remember thinking, why would this person even want to do this? But I didn't tell him that. Of course, I was like bold, confident, we're doing this. And anyway, I remember I was so shocked when he actually signed, like he was like, yeah, let's do this. And I remember being so shocked that I said, can I ask you a question? Like, why are you doing this? Like, what gets you excited about this? Like, I just wanted to know, like, why is he even signing up? And he said, because I want time and money together. I'm tied to a pager all the time. And I love that I can get paid even when I'm sleeping. And I was like, oh my gosh, like it built belief in me. Like this is such a powerful, thing that we have in our hands. Like you guys, this industry is amazing. Like you can be anywhere and still get paid. And when I realized that, I was like unstoppable. First of all, I realized, oh my gosh, I conquered a fear. I was able to talk to one of the sharpest people that I've ever talked to in my life, and I didn't throw up on him. And we got through the presentation and he signed up. Like it was so cool. It was probably one of the worst presentations I've ever done, but nobody knew it because it was the only one he'd ever seen. And really the only one Jennifer and Darren had really seen. So it was the best presentation ever in their eyes. But for me, okay, it wasn't my best, but I did it. Okay. You have to be competent as a leader. Like you have to be that bold, competent. If you want to be a top producing diamond or Blue Diamond or presidential Blue Diamond, whatever it is, you got to show up that way. You got to be the person that you want to attract, right? In order to get the results that you truly want. Okay, we got to get through that. So let me just find them here. Okay. So we're almost done. But number 5, you got to cast vision. Cast vision. This is so important. Like with Jennifer and Darren, I knew in order to get them to really move into action, in order to get my team to really move into action, I had to be talking big. I had to be showing them, look, paint the picture of success. What are you creating? And each person is different. Okay, so like for example, the Dowds, Darren was traveling all over the place. And I knew that the biggest thing that they wanted is just to bring Darren home. So I cast vision. Look, wouldn't it be amazing when, you two can wake up in the morning and you can have a cup of a coffee or, whatever it is, right? And just like enjoy the day. And I talked to Darren about, he always wanted to fly planes. So I talked to him about, we're going to create jet money. Like we're going to go do something really, really big here. So this is why it's so important to connect with them first, because you got to find out why they're even there and what you want to go create. And then cast a vision of how they're going to be able to create that. Okay. Show them the picture, not your vision. Okay. But their vision. What do they want to create? Make it all about them, not about you. So for example, if somebody says, I just need to make an extra $500 a month so that I can pay for groceries and I can pay for my kids' gymnastics. then I'm going to say, oh my gosh, there's no reason why you can't. Won't that be so cool when you can just write that check for gymnastics? Like that's going to be amazing. Um, and then I'm going to talk to them a little bit more. Now after that, what else do you want? Like I'm going to talk to them about what else they want. But with the person that wants to make $500 a month, I'm going to talk to them about what they want. The person that says I want to make $17,000 a month, I'm going to say, okay, tell me what that means. Like, what do you want to create? Is that totally firing you up to make that happen, right? You got to get detailed and really get submerged in what they want so that you can help cast the vision of what we're creating. Okay. And then connect with your team on a personal level. I think I kind of went through that, but learn their why, find out what they want. What are their goals? What are their dreams? Make sure you have notes on what they're creating so that you can remind them of that. When they have a bad day, you can say, listen, Janet, I understand, but I know that if we got serious, if we push through this, there's no reason why you can't pay for your kids' private school. If that's what she said she wanted. Okay, whatever it was that she said, I'm going to talk to them about that. Okay. And then believe in them enough to paint the vision that they are one of your emerging leaders. Okay. Like here's what I mean. Sometimes people don't realize that they could be that leader. But build belief in them, like show them their strengths and how, look, you can see them as one of these top producing, blue diamonds on stage training, doing the thing, like develop emerging leaders, talk to them about what they're creating and show them how to lead in the way that they can, like get them presenting with you right away. That's one way to do it. Like, um, there's not a certain pin level that they have to be to get them to start presenting. In fact, how I find my leaders is I look and see who's presenting. Those are my leaders. Those are the ones that are emerging leaders. They want more, they're willing to go create it. And then when a brand new person joins, I don't tell them, like, hey, by the time you get to this level, you're going to present. I want to get them presenting right away. Darren and Jen, do you know that Darren actually did like the beginning of a presentation for his first presentation? Like I got them presenting right away because I knew I was flying back to Boise and they had to present. This is so important. Like you got to get presenters going right away and then create quick wins. This is important too. So, a quick win doesn't necessarily have to be that they hit Jade right off the bat. Okay. A quick win could be they got their aunt to jump on a Zoom. That's a win. Okay. They got somebody to be a customer. That's a win. But you want to continue to create wins. So, for example, with the Dowds, right away, I knew that we had to create some wins. The first win was we closed Jennifer's brother. We closed one of her closest friends into the business. And then I helped that closer friend also bring somebody in. That was another win, right? To then pretty soon we got them making money. I knew that we had to get them a big check in their hands in order to keep that momentum going. And so create those wins, reach down. There were people that I was reaching out to that Jennifer wasn't reaching out to because she was scared to reach out to them. I was digging down in the team and finding people to sign or to be excited that would lock, I knew, the Dowds in. Does this make sense? So your job is to create those wins with the people anywhere you can, and make that happen. Okay, number 9, promote a we culture rather than a me culture. We already kind of talked about that, but make it all about your team and about what they want to create and recognize their contribution in making that happen. And then number 10 is always be painting vision. Over communicate your vision. Over communicate what you're creating and what the team can create and painting that vision. You can paint the big vision of what the company's doing, right? We're building $1 billion company. Our mission is to change 1 billion lives for good, right? But $1 billion company, which means that many millionaires will be created. That's the big vision. But then what's your vision? Like, what are you creating, and how can you paint that into everybody else and what they want to create? For example, like my when I first flew into California, I told Jen, look, there's no reason why we couldn't make $100,000 a month. I'd never done it before, but I just believed it. I believed if a young 23-year-old kid could do that, then we could as well. So I just painted vision that way. Like I carried around a notebook and I talked about Jen, $100,000 a month. We can do this. We can make this happen. So whatever that is, okay, and it has to be what they want too. I knew Jen wanted that, right? I knew that she wanted to bring Darren home, and I knew that that would be exciting if we could even create $20,000 a month or $30,000 a month. But I talked big picture. That's important. Okay. And then the last but not least, be transparent through challenges. Okay. Understand there's going to be challenges, you guys, and it's okay. In fact, when you're building a big business, if you don't have any problems, then you don't have any business coming in. When you start having problems is when business is happening, things are happening. And so always be solution oriented and ask the question, okay, what else is possible? How can we get through this challenge? But be transparent with your team too. If there are challenges, or maybe you screwed up, or things have happened, right? Always take ownership of that and show them a way to navigate through those challenges, being solution oriented. Okay, it's okay, but you know what? We're gonna do this. We're gonna make it happen, and we're gonna pivot and change and move forward. Okay, always being positive. One thing for leadership that's so important: make sure that you're always positive down into your team, and negatives can go up. Okay, so if you have a challenge, don't call sideline or downline. Okay, call your upline and say, listen, I've got this challenge, but when you call your upline, have a solution already in mind. Listen, I've got this challenge. I'm thinking this way, but tell me, what do you think? Right? Or if you're just having a bad day, upline is who you call. Okay. Because usually that little bad day or little thing, you're going to be able to get over that really quick. But if you go in and you damage your sideline or your downline or whatever, then there's more drama that doesn't need to happen. Okay. So never show doubt, fear, or frustration to your team. You can show that to your upline. That was something that really blessed me. I remember hearing that many years ago, and it changed everything for me. So, okay, you guys, I am so excited. We are ready to rock and roll. We are going to go lead with connection. We're going to go lead by, showing up and getting that buy-in from our team by us being the person we want to attract, right? And I know when we do that, magic happens. That happened for me many years ago. Those two things changed everything, and truly focus on those two things like crazy, and you are going to get your team into